Ei, sí, ok, 1, 2, probando. Aquí estem al Central Park, al Fòrum de Barcelona, la nostra ciutat, la ciutat comtal. Extreme Barcelona 2023. 2023, 15 años con vosotros. Y bueno, están calentando, vamos a aprovechar este momento para ir dando información un poquito general, porque cuando se ponga en marcha este Boeing 747 llamado BMX, no vamos a parar, va a ser increíble, y para eso me va a acompañar mi hombre Rubén Álvarez, que lo tenemos aquí con el segundo micrófono. Yo, 720 core para Marin Rantes, desde Croacia, lo veis practicar. Mira, os decimos, tenemos gente, se ha clasificado un español para esta gran final. La armada inglesa viene a tope, Francia, United States of America desde Estados Unidos, Croacia, más de Inglaterra, también Venezuela representando. Formato de competición. 2 rondas de 1 minuto, puntúa la mejor. Ok, attention please riders. Format competition to 1 minute round, there's round counts. Tenemos, tenemos un ranking, estos chicos tienen un ranking. Tenemos campeón de Francia 2021, campeón del mundo 2018, plata, oro, Tokio 2020, plata, Tokio 2020, bronce, campeón de Europa 2022, actual campeón del mundo y de Europa también lo tenemos, campeón de Inglaterra 2022, lo tenemos en pista. Rubén, no veas la que se nos viene.
Vamos con uno de esos riders de una talla internacional, que nadie se mueva de la grada, que enseguida en apenas 20 minutitos vamos a arrancar con este plantel 12 pedazos de riders internacionales la armada inglesa, como dice Óscar, ha venido aquí, ha venido a conquistar el puerto de Barcelona, desembarcan aquí al Parc del Fòrum en este 15 aniversario. Vaya tarde nos espera, que nadie se mueva, por favor, porque si queréis ver BMX en estado puro, en 20 minutitos van a empezar aquí las grandes finales de este Barcelona Extreme 2023, tercera parada de las World Series. Tremendo plantel, repito, tremendo plantel y nivel tenemos esta batalla aquí. Campeones mundiales, subcampeones olímpicos. Todo el mundo buscando sus puntitos. Esto es categoría UCI-C1. Esto es puntuable para las Olimpiadas. La gente busca ir a Francia. Vamos, tenemos que muchas ganas de ver lo que trae Marin Rantes, por ejemplo, que está en pista. Y Juan Cayer. Tenemos también representación de casa, tenemos a Paul Díaz Lorente, que clasificó 12º, representando a la gente de casa aquí en el Parc del Fòrum. 20 minutitos de prácticas, 20 minutitos y va a empezar esto un huracán, chicos, un huracán se acerca al Parc del Fòrum. Recordamos el formato de competición, que son 2 rondas de 1 minutito. Puntúa la mejor de las rondas. Cuidado, chicos, be careful. Are you okay? Yes.
Anem a aprofitar a donar les gràcies a totes les marques i les institucions que estan darrere d'aquest Extreme Barcelona 2023. Vamos a comenzar por el apoyo institucional, el Ayuntamiento de Barcelona, la Generalitat, Sportcat. Luego, por otro lado, sponsors oficiales como Hot Wheels, Movistar, Imagine y Blue Banana, vistiendo a todo el staff su outfit completo. Los media partners como TMB, As Acción, TV3 Sportcat, 360 BS y Flash EFA EMA. Y las federaciones, en lo que se refiere a BMX, tenemos a la UCI, Unión Ciclista Internacional, y la Real Federación Española de Ciclismo. Finales en directo, nos van a ver desde casa, a través del streaming por YouTube, a través del canal Urban World Series, también por Sport 3, Teledeporte y Olympic Channel. Poneros guapos, tomad asientos, porque esto va a ser increíble. La final de Elite Men. Los mejores, los 12 mejores, están calentando. Estáis avisados, solo hay que venir aquí al Central Park, familia.
Uy. Be careful, bro. Be careful. Está bien. Ahí estamos todos bien. Empieza a dar la sombrita ahí a la grada, que bien nos viene la sombrita, chavales. Qué bien estáis ahora ahí. Toda la peñita van aprovechando la sombra para venir a ver la Big Final aquí en el Parc del Fòrum, este Extreme Barcelona 15 aniversario. Cómo gusta cumplir años así.
Y por favor, Barcelona, Rubén y yo lo sabemos, y ya lo sabéis, lo hemos ido diciendo. ¿Qué necesitamos, Rubén? ¿Qué necesitan los riders?
Ruido. Así que por favor vamos a animar, son los 12 mejores. Ruido, Barna.
Calentando como ellos.
No se escucha res.
No se escolta res. A veure, anem a practicar una altra vegada, va. 3, 2, 1...
Bueno, no está mal, pero podría estar mejor, ¿eh?
Bien, me gusta, Rubén,
Están calentando. Luego cuando empiecen las finales le van a dar todo como ellos.
Es que es el punto, estamos todos calentando y practicando. Ellos, nosotros con la voz, el público, las familias, los niños, niñas, por aquí también. Sí, pero vamos a ir de menos a más. No pasa nada, vamos a guardar energía, estamos avisados, se va a liar mucho. En casa con ganitas, otro rider con 5 oros de los X-Games, otro rider con 2 medallas en los pasados, wow, 2 X-Games, y el ranking que he dicho anteriormente. O sea, esto está cargado, cargado. Estamos en la tercera parada. Venimos de hacer 2 paradas anteriores. Almería, Madrid. Los riders lo dieron todo. Saben que esta es la última. ¿Dónde? En Barcelona. Barcelona, la nuestra ciudad, Barcelona. Aquí al Parc del Fòrum, celebrando 15 años.
15 añitos aquí en el Parc del Fòrum, ¿cómo lo pasamos? Qué bonitos cumpleaños, rodeado de tanta gente, de tantas riders, atletas internacionales, tanto nivel, tantas medallas, tanto olímpicas, ex, que en campeonatos del... ¡Wow! Doble flare altísimo. ¡Wow! Pues esto es solo un poquito lo que vamos a ver a partir de las finales. Están calentando. Estos riders tienen la ronda prácticamente medida, la tienen en la cabeza. Ojito, porque lo que vamos a ver van a ser unos combos brutales, transfers increíbles, como esta pedazo de rotación de 720 que ha metido desde el volcán a la recepción del Famos larguísimo. Otros 720 por aquí. Aquí una derrota de 360. ¡Wow! Doble tailwhip para arriba. ¡Qué barbaridad! ¡Qué nivel! Y repito, están calentando.
Bien visto, bien visto. Nadie rota 3-6 casi ya. Estamos subiendo listones. Como os decíamos durante todo el fin de semana. Qualis, semis, estamos en la final, los 12 mejores. Y aún así, dentro de la final, van a salir de forma de cómo se han clasificado. Por lo consiguiente,
The opposition, but if you want to look like you can close the distance, I'ma give it A forever since you're so persistent. With you, I'm just practicing, cause I'm back to back, let's get back to winning. As a matter of fact, I'm not that forgiving, cause you did this to yourself, that's a bad decision. Ain't nobody will run to me, ain't nobody will run to me, ain't nobody will run to me, ain't nobody will run to me.
Cosas como el uso del par, la consistencia de la ronda, la solidez.
Los trucos cansan.
En Imagine tenemos una pregunta. ¿De qué color ves nuestro logo? ¿Verde o azul? Si lo ves verde es porque juntos ya hemos plantado más de 300.000 árboles. Si lo ves azul es porque hemos retirado más de 21 toneladas de plástico del mar. Y es que somos muy azules, y muy verdes, y muy azules, y también verdes, y azules, claro. Imagine, somos lo que hacemos.
Estoy muy orgulloso de ti, hijo. No sé qué podría hacer por ti. Yo sí sé qué puedes hacer por mí, papá.
Un regalito de inicio de curso a tu padre no le cuesta mucho, porque ahora por ser de mi Movistar puedes tener hasta 5 dispositivos. Juega como quieras, juega mejor.
Ay, papá, ¿cómo eres?
pequeñas alegrías no son pequeñas, son la alegría. Date una alegría. Venga, Andalucía.
Ho tenim per aquí, després el presentarem amb tots els riders.
Welcome back to the Parc del Fòrum, Barcelona, right beside the Mediterranean, for the final time here at Extreme Barcelona 2023, the 15th anniversary for the UCI C1 BMX Freestyle Park Final for the men. My name's Todd Grady. I'll be taking you through this final of the weekend. Right beside me is the voice of BMX himself, Mr. Daryl Nah. How are you doing, Daryl?
Todd, it's a pleasure to be here, not only with you, not only with the BMX fans in Barcelona, but our entire BMX community around the world. This event for the last 14 years, and I say that because this is our 15th year of doing Extreme Barcelona, has created a platform for BMX riders to express themselves, get out there on the course. But the fact that this is a UCI C1 event, and there's going to be potential points up for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games as far as a qualifier, I'm very excited and honored to be here with you today, Todd.
Oh, me too. Absolutely amped. And to be like another step on the way to Paris is just huge. It's just such a, everything in the sport from grassroots to the very top, headed towards the Olympic Games, is represented here this weekend. And that's what's so fun about Barcelona as a city and Extreme Barcelona as an event.
Yeah, and you know, if you're watching at home, plan now for next year. We want to get you here for the 16th edition. Barcelona is known as a global destination for action sports. Everywhere in the city has something to ride. But right now it is all about our Central Park BMX course that you're witnessing some riders warm it up on. This course was designed specifically for this event. We've got big bookends on either side, which we'll talk about, and quarter pipes and wall rides and drop ins and all different transitions. And then in the center showcases the riding, the different lengths and distances of box jumps, spines, all different takeoffs and hips. So it's going to be a really exciting event to witness the riders on the course. And then also look at this beautiful crowd we have out here who's going to be cheering on and fueling on all of our riders.
Absolutely. The crowd here actually plays a huge part, I think, in Extreme Barcelona, not only just for the vibe, but they're just so knowledgeable about the action sports they're looking at. I've never come across a crowd who quite so much knows what they're looking at. They know exactly when a trick has gone down for the first time ever. They know when something was hard, dangerous, and tricky, and they really reward that with extra energy that they send to these riders that pushes them to ride at the highest level possible.
Yeah, and that crowd is such an important element because we see so many times where there's world's first that go down or riders step to a whole nother level. And that's really what it's about at competition. You got the pressure on. It's, hey, can you deliver this during your run out on the course? But, you know, that's that moment where someone either steps to the plate or maybe they can crumble under that pressure. And a lot of times when they have that crowd support, they're cheering them on, it can mentally help them push to make the impossible possible.
Absolutely. Some can take the pressure, some get built up by it, and others crumble. So here is our start list, broken into two heats of 6 riders. First heat will be Paul Diaz, Reese Dabrio, Kane Mitchell, Miller Temple, Reefway, and Istvan Kaile. Second heat, our top 6 qualifiers: Jack Maguire, Justin Dowell, Daniel Dhers, Marin Rantes, Kieran Reilley, the world champion, and his countryman Jude Jones, top qualifier.
So that is definitely a who's who of BMX. Taking a look right there, there's Justin Dowell. He actually competed in the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. I'm going to take a moment to just talk about that because that was the first time BMX freestyle was ever in the Olympics. The UCI worked with the racing aspect for several years, and then they stepped up being the organizing body for freestyle. First time was Tokyo 2020 Games. We actually have an Olympic silver medalist, Daniel Dhers, who's going to be riding in this competition. So it just kind of shows you the level and caliber. I mean, this is world-class, top of the top that we have here for Extreme Barcelona. But these points, the structure system, the global, if you want to get involved and figure out, hey, how do I start my BMX journey? Or maybe you've already been competing, just log on to the UCI website. You can see all current points, standings, where there's events in your part of the world. And if you haven't, make sure you go to the Urban World Series Instagram, give us a follow, because there's so much great lifestyle, behind the scenes, everything with the riders. And I know, Todd, you follow the Instagram page and you get a chance to see not only BMX, but all of the different sports and disciplines that we have.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful thing about this event that it's cross sports. There's been so many sports that have taken part of it over those 15 years. And the level of respect between the sports, I think, has been nothing but improved by this amazing melting pot of action sports right here. And yeah, you could get involved and interested in something that you never even knew existed coming to events like this, you know?
Yeah, and you know, the energy, that's the cool thing about anything having to do with action sports, is the community aspect. And Barcelona has always been a destination, I'm going to say for the last 20 plus years. It's really in BMX. It started when Robbie Morales came over there with the Fit BMX team. I believe it was Vic Ayala and Edwin De La Rosa, and they started to film some video footage out in Barcelona. They kind of took foot behind some skateboarders and some of the videos that were coming out. I think the Zoo York team just put out a video then. I know I'm going a little back in the archives, but it's important to know the history of a city and why it's so important. Because then throughout the years, every single team in BMX made Barcelona the destination. And right here where we have our event taking place are the infamous seawalls. You have seen it in every single action sports, BMX, skate, scooter video, where it's just these big transitions of these massive tiles, and you could carve over doorways. It's an iconic spot. I mean, if you ride, skate, or do anything, you know what I'm talking about. But that helps set the tone. I mean, we're having this event for the 15th year in that iconic riding spot. So riders come to Barcelona as that destination, excited for it, to make the friendships, to make the bonds with the crowd, and most importantly, push their riding to brand new levels.
Absolutely. Experiencing those seawalls in person for the first time was like chilling. They look like skate park ramps in videos, right? But geez, they're so hard to just ride up. It's such a janky transition. It's and on a scooter, especially with the tiles rolling over them. Yeah, real tough, and definitely something to see in person. Get a flavor of.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to rewind the clock. Maybe 10 years ago, I had an opportunity. We did an event out. We did an event and did a little layover trip in Barcelona, and I was actually there with the Sabrosa team, and Brian Scher, who's one of the owners of Sabrosa, actually took me in a train to ride and carve over one of those big doorways on the huge vert walls, and you're all the way at the top. You're almost 30 feet off the ground. It's a really fun thing. You kind of have to check it off on your Barcelona bucket list, so to speak. But that's right where we are. You can see the tiles that all of our fans are sitting on, and that natural bleacher that's right there. And those are carved just on the other side into a huge 30-foot tall vert wall.
Absolutely. One for the Sagrada Familia, Parc Güell, Camp Nou, seawalls. That's they're the four things to tick off when you come to Barcelona, as well as copious amounts of tapas, which is what I always consume when I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, Barcelona really does have that energy that's phenomenal for the action sports. And also, it's just a lifestyle. There's something about the energy in Spain, just kind of that laid-back Spanish style. It translates so well. You know, riders, you want to sleep in, you want to take a siesta, then you want to have the fiesta at night. It's just perfect for setting the tone.
And the local crowd getting hyped up by the MCs right here, getting them frothing ready for these 12 incredible riders to drop in to our BMX Park final. We'll be shortly introducing those 12 riders, but they're still just warming up at the moment. The whole world
It's important to note that our riders out there as well, they're going to be judged by 3 judges. We have Axel Jurgens, Javier Ortega, and Nuno Melanos, who are going to be looking at the riders' overall approach in their one run of that 60 seconds. So they're going to have 2 runs, it's going to be best run counts, but they want to see what a rider can do in that 60 seconds. They want to see the confidence, the speed, the tricks, the frequency, the height. And one thing that's so important is the style. Now, if a rider puts their foot down or crashes, which we do not want to see, they can get back up on their bike and continue on throughout the run, but they will be penalized since this is is a UCI event. The judges know that, hey, we're looking for perfection. I mean, look, we have an Olympic silver medalist, Dhers here. We also have the UCI world champion, Kieran Reilley. He just got first in Scotland about 2 months ago. And you're going to really be stepping up the game and the ante out here. So just take that in mind. If a rider puts their foot down, they will be very heavily penalized, Todd.
Absolutely. Keeping the right, landing on the straight and narrow, landing straight to the pedals is all super important here. And these judges have got eagle eyes and really know what they're looking for.
Yeah, and we also want to note, if there's something that we potentially miss from our announcing standpoint, that has no impact. The judges have a perfect vantage point, and they're going to be able to make the call. So if there's something that we see from our house that's maybe like, oh, there was an extra bar spin or something thrown in there, it has zero impact on the judges. So we just really want to stress that. These are lifetime riders, all industry icons, and they've judged for a living and traveled the world, and they really know what to look for on our riders. Now, Todd, I want to ask you this. Being an action sports guy through and through, how important is style?
Oh, I mean, I feel like it's the basis of the sport, you know. I feel like it's why action sports sort of developed away from the kind of classic team sports mentality. It was all about showing your own style, putting your own spin on things, and the sort of lack of rules. Obviously, when we're judging a competition, those rules have to come back in, but it's part of the fabric of extreme sports and action sports to have that own personal style chucked on things. It's something you can't quite put your finger on what it is, but you know it when you see it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and to kind of break it down even a little bit further, you could take almost even a standard textbook trick, right? A foundation trick in BMX. Let's just use the tabletop as an example. If you're brand new to BMX, the tabletop's when you lay the bike over, you put it on its side so it's like a tabletop, nice and flat. But you can have riders who can all do their own tabletop version, and that's their own style when the rider can make it their own. So right now we have all of our gladiators getting into place. We had our qualifying take place over the last 2 days. We had our qualifiers that were open and also our semifinal. We cut the pack down to the top 12 riders. As Todd mentioned, we're going to be running this in 2 separate heats. 6 riders in each of the heats. It doesn't matter if you're in heat number 1 or heat number 2. You're still going to be competing against all other riders, and we're going to see who is going to come out on top, not only with a gold, silver, or bronze medal, but also with the biggest pie of that cold, hard cash that we have on the line.
Absolutely, and a chance to put yourself in the Extreme Barcelona history books, you know. This is a big competition standalone on its own. Some big winners won here before. Your name gets put right next to them. So introducing our riders. First rider to drop is a young Spanish ripper by the name of Paul Diaz. Big love from the local crowd there. Next, Rhys D'Abreu. Next, another Brit, Kane Mitchell. Another of the British riders represented hard on the Union Jack right here, Miller Temple, just 18 years of age. Reefway, another young ripper from the UK. And our final rider in heat number 1 is Istvan Caillet from France. These riders split into 2 heats, so they're not waiting for an entire 12 riders to go before they can ride again. Keeps the riders warm. And it's always a favourite with the riders that they don't have to wait for a long time in between runs. Another Brit now will start heat number 2, Mr. Jack McGuire. An American now by the name of Justin Dowell. BMX rider. This man is quite possibly the most winningest in Extreme Barcelona history. A huge fan base here. It's Daniel Dhers, Olympic silver medalist. Two riders left then. Sorry, 3 riders left. Can't forget about the Croatian Marin Rantes. And 2 Brits at the top of the pile. First of those won himself some rainbow bands in Glasgow a couple of months ago. World champion, Mr. Kieran Reilley.
Kieran Reilley.
And just crowned British champion and your #1 qualifier, also from Great Britain, Mr. Jude Jones.
So there you have it, our 12 gladiators getting ready for competition. You actually see Jude Jones, Kieran Reilley wearing the Great Britain jersey. That's another great thing about BMX freestyle being in the Olympics. A lot of their federations and countries give that support for our riders. They wind up either having coaches or they potentially build some skate parks. Some countries also supply a budget so riders can travel to these events, and having that has really stepped the game up for our competition globally. Our riders put a lot more focus on what's going on. They train year-round and they really step up their game. So that's why we've seen such a big progression in BMX freestyle for the women and men's over the last several years.
Absolutely, it's made a huge difference in the UK. I feel like before the British cycling got involved, there was actually struggling, a lot of riders struggling to kind of make a living out of BMX. And now you can see what we've got, 7 riders in this top 10, all of whom will be being supported by British cycling, or the majority will be. And it just makes such a huge difference to these guys not to be worrying about their travel budget, just have it kind of sorted for them. It just allows them to focus purely on doing more stunts, which I am all for.
So the way it works, riders are going to have 2 runs, 60 seconds. It's going to be the best run counts. So we're going to see some strategy out here, what they're going to do. Some riders want to come out and maybe play it safe to put 1 score on the board and then kind of up the ante in their second score, maybe putting some more difficult tricks in. Or some other riders say, hey, you know what? I got to go all in, first go. I'm going to put my chips on the table and try to get a banger run because I want to be on top, especially with world champions and Olympic silver medalists here. It's going to take a big run.
So in come Paul Diaz, kicking off the contest, 60 seconds on the clock.
Yes, 360 double bar. Spin into a flare right there, grabbing that quarter pipe really high on his landing, doing a nice rotation. So right now we're seeing the first approach from our riders on the course. As I mentioned, in the centerpiece are all those different box jumps and extended spines and different length hits where a rider really has to adjust their speed and then showcase whether they're going to do a transfer, big backflip over that box jump, or going to go straight. And right there we see a nice transfer quarter to quarter with a tuck no-hander. Todd, a great start right now for Paul.
Oh yeah, they're really holding speed, using the course really interestingly. Love that channel gap. And back on that transfer with the alley-oop there as well. Yeah, powerful first run from the young local.
Yeah, working it out. These final 10 seconds are important because it shows a judge that you are in control and confident with a big Superman like that, getting that extension, putting the bike out, beautifully done, and getting a full run. The 60 seconds, the young rider getting out there. A lot of nerves when you drop in for the competition, especially being the first rider. But you wouldn't know it by any means of how confident Paul is out there. So let's take a look right here. First hit over the box, 360 double bar spin. You see he throws the bars, catches them, throws them again, and then he has that backflip with the 180 known as a flare, tucking the bars into his lap on that 360 no-hander. And here's a look as he goes upside down and around, getting into that big step landing with enough momentum to clear the channel gap with that tuck no-hander, going quarter to quarter.
That's
Here we go, that's Superman kicking it out right there. Shout out to Chris Bennett, an OG trail rider in Pennsylvania who helped make that Superman style so popular in the 90s, and I love that we're seeing Diaz throw down now.
Really enjoyed his extension on everything there. That Superman and that toboggan really dipped it out, really threw the bike out in front of me on the Superman. Yeah, like he didn't do those half-assed, he did them wholeheartedly. Next rider to drop then, the first of the myriad of Brits, Reese de Breo. In he comes, 60 seconds.
Kicking that around, I believe that was 3 times on that tail whip right there, but we will have that slow-mo 360 with the bars, and I love the way he was able to just dip that front end down. Now, this course is very linear back and forth, but it really gives the riders a chance to showcase how they're going to not only put their jumping tricks in, but are they going to utilize the transfers? When you take off, yes, 540 flare, when you take off from one ramp and you can transfer and gap to another one that maybe isn't going as straight, the judges know that's a difficult thing to do because you've got to play with your speed and you also have to play with your takeoff and landing. 360 bar spin to tuck no-hander. Todd, he's looking solid with 15 seconds to go.
Super solid, and I know what you mean about those transfers as well. They're often blind landings, which just ups that difficulty and scare factor, which the judges love to see. Real stylish on his tricks. Just coming up a couple of seconds left to fill. A real solid first run will be a good, sets him a good stead for the second run to up it as well with that solid score on the board.
There you can see Greg Illingworth, one of the coaches for Team Great Britain, coming in with that tail whip. I believe that was 3 times right there.
It was.
And then a big tuck no-hander on the hip. And a good thing to think about with their clock, a rider has to really just figure out what tricks they're going to do. That was a big one, the 540 flare, doing that rotation while doing the backflip coming into the quarter pipe. And having a rider figure that out with their timing, how much, how long, how they're going to end it, that's one of the big plays. So the ending 10 seconds of this competition is really what's going to set it apart. So getting a 67.83. It looks like Reese is going to hold that top spot, followed by Diaz.
Yeah, definitely more technicality in that run, but definitely room to improve as well, filling that up, that whole 60 seconds. 60 seconds is a long time to be out there. It doesn't feel like a lot to us at home, but out there on the course in the heat of the moment with the crowd pressure, 60 seconds could feel like a lifetime.
3, 2, 1.
Kane Mitchell now dropping into his first run.
Yeah, Big K crushing it with that backflip bar spin tuck no-hander, and look at the height on that alley-oop double bar spin straight into a backflip tail whip, just throwing haymakers on every single one of the ramps so far. This is a big start with the 360 triple bar spin, I believe, tossing the bars forward and back, looking so good out there, Todd.
Oh, absolutely. Love the amplitude on this guy, the speed and height coming into all the ramps, the alley-oop tricks. Yeah, style Kane has got plenty.
Now let's watch the clock as he does the front flip with the no-hander. The fact that he has 20 seconds to go and he's building momentum with that back flip no-hander is enormous. Getting that transfer in from the quarter pipe to the wedge, 360 bar spin to tuck no-hander. If he can keep it together, Todd, this is a big run.
Absolutely packing it in. Those opening bangers being thrown towards the back end of this run. That was a real solid run from Kane, and he is psyched on it.
Yeah, Kane right there knowing that he got that full pull, big smile on his face, a round of applause from Barcelona, just ramping up right here. Many highlights to watch from Kane Mitchell's first run. I mean, basically we could put the whole thing in slow-mo, but let's just see some of the cream of the crop as he drops in, first hit, backflip, bar spin, tuck no-hander, 3-piece combo. Perfect execution, seeing another perspective of that. And then he had that 360 triple bar spin, hot hands, throwing them around. There's the double tail whip. And it's cool to see what a tall rider he is, but he's able to just make things look smooth, stylish, and dialed like that 360 double tail whip. And here's a look at the backflip with the no-hander. That time it did not have the bar spin. And that was really great to see that he just kept that flow going, and you know that Kane Mitchell is psyched. And that's that moment where the crowd just ramped up the energy, showing the respect.
Wow.
72.33 slots Mitchell into the lead of the competition with just 3 riders down. A solid run from Kane, really exciting as well. Miller Temple, his compatriot, at just 18 years old, is about to take to the course on his first Extreme Barcelona final, doing it for the British cycling team. He's got 60 seconds on the clock, and away he goes.
All right, dropping in. Yo, 720 with that tail whip right there, doing the alley-oop flare bar spin. The thing to note is the speed at which he's throwing down these big tricks. Triple tail whip coming back at us. Look at the transfer right there. That's what we're talking about. When you go off the landing, it's mellower, and then you wind up going to that steep quarter pipe. The difficulty goes up, opposite tail whip. So Miller Temple throwing a lot of tricks similar to Kane Mitchell, but some might say these are a lot more difficult, and putting some of the transfers in so far, Todd.
Absolutely love that he's transferring from the jump box landing into that steep quarter, just up in that difficulty level, and yeah, throwing it with some crazy tricks all at the same time. Massive flare, but oh, did he want to make the big channel to channel gap there maybe? Or just flew a bit further?
I'm not sure, but he's going to have to work this out. That's unfortunate. He got lost on the course. As we mentioned, this is a UCI points event. It's a C1. This is a very big event in BMX. So all of a sudden, like, when you have those mistakes, it's going to be judged maybe a little bit different than you would have seen in our street competition yesterday, because this is an Olympic qualifier for points. So take a look right there. Got that 720 full commitment with that tail whip. The reason that trick can be so challenging to do, the 720, you need to commit looking over your shoulder for the spin, and that tail whip changes your rotational speed. A lot of riders, when they're learning it, it's hard to get that second spin around because you got so much going with the handlebars, and it just throws you a little bit off axis, but you would have no idea the way that he was just able to get it around smooth, especially in his beginning of his run, playing with that risk versus reward factor and getting it done.
Yeah, I think he's laid some excellent groundwork there, though, for a second run. Well, he's laid some excellent groundwork with a 73.83. The judges really like that, even with the slip up and the early finish. Absolutely killer start for him. If he can clean that up in the second runs, he's really going to be up there. Reefway is another Brit who's also just 18 years of age. Here he comes, doing it for the British cycling team. Reefway ready for his first 60-second run. Penultimate to drop in heat number 1.
All riders so far, heat number 1, choose to start things off over the box jump. I believe that was a 360 triple tail whip, full commitment, looking for the pedals, 360 bar spin after that tail whip. So we're seeing Reefway stick with some of the similar tricks off the gate. We did see the judges really respect the score of Reefway over Kane Mitchell's because of the variety of the tricks he chose in the 60 seconds. Let's see if Reefway shakes things up as he's getting to that halfway mark. 30 seconds down. Todd, he's got 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, 30 seconds to go. It'll feel like a long time whilst he's out there, though. Got to keep that energy high like he started it. Front flip, getting upside down.
Yeah, it's a hard trick. You got to commit over the bars, putting your weight there. But right now, Reefway has 10 seconds. And let's see if he could just keep stacking these tricks, stacking the points, and try to put a big exclamation point. 540 double bar spin.
Love the fives, man. Only first guy was sitting chucking the fives. Those big rotations on the quarter pipe, just setting himself a bit different from everybody else, putting his own stamp on the competition.
Well, seeing that support right there from Coach Greg Illingworth, but look at this full commitment on those tail whips around. A little hard to see from my house, but I believe that was a triple tail whip in the 360. There's a different variation. Look at that 540, nice height. That's almost a vert ramp out there. These quarter pipes are so big. Tuck, no hander, great perspective from our wide angle cameraman. Look, popping that flare. That's the backflip 180 when you transfer. into that big landing, it gets a little bit more forgiving because it's a little bit mellower coming in, and he's able to take advantage of that as well with that 540 double bar spin, putting the hands back on and just spotting it with a smooth landing.
What I've actually found on that kind of bank wall, the scooter riders are doing it as well. They're popping these flares high and landing them higher on the ramp that they're landing on the bank, so they can develop more speed to come back in and clear that box again. So it's actually quite tactical how they're using that transfer as well. All of these amazing little nuances that you can find in a skate park run.
The score just came in. Reefway popping into that top spot, so he's going to hold the top bar, and our next rider is going to look to take over.
Sebastian Cuellar of France.
Very exciting rider. Again, riders can choose wherever they want to start. All 6 riders of Heat 1 choosing for the box jump for their first hit. And Esteban with that double backflip, taking a page out of your book right there, going extremely high on that flare transfer, setting him up for the 720, full commitment over the shoulder. Look at the downside 360 tail up. The thing I want to note was the way he just floated for some extra height, and the front flip. We're seeing some big variety out here, Todd.
Absolutely. Istvan going crazy right now for France. Backflip, double whip, outrageous.
Throwing down the helicopter, as that's known, also with that 720 transfer. 20 seconds to go. France is in the house right now in a cash roll.
Istvan stepping up the level right here.
10 seconds. Let's see if he can keep it together for France. Hitting a quick wall ride. Wrapping around the head tube. Final thought. Yes.
Stomped. Istvan just raised the bar right there. The Frenchman throwing down the gauntlet as the last rider to drop in heat number 1. I reckon this is going to be messing with some of the higher qualified riders as well. He's going to be mixing it right up the top.
The 2021 French champion. Let's see right now as he chooses to come into the box. Big haymaker, throws his fist and connects right on the chin of that box with that double backflip. Here's a look at a double 360 known as that 720. I love the way he was just able to float around that head tube. Had that front flip in. I mean, this whole run had such variety, and we saw the way that the judges rewarded that. That's the helicopter, the backflip, double tail whip. Here's a look at the transfer this time with the 720. And here's got the single backflip over that step up. We're taking a look at that big exclamation part, the bold at the end of his run, the flare with the tail whip. So much going on. And if you could throw a big trick like that at the end of your run, it shows that you have stamina, confidence, you're not lost on the course, and you just threw down.
Yeah, easily slips into first place there with a 79.0. What I really loved about his run, Daryl, there's so much mix-up in the way he span. There was the backflip, front flip, 7, the flare, everything was, and his backflip double tail whip was kind of off-axis. Really mixed up the rotations there.
Yeah, and one thing to note, the score 0 to 100, it's not necessarily dictated if the score is in the 70s or 80s or 90s toward any other contest. It gives the judges just breathing room of how can we put the riders in what order right there. Because that was a banger run, and at home you might be going, why is that in the 79, not even into the 80s? It just gives the judges a little bit of room to kind of stack. So that's what we really want to focus on. Look at this, charging back in, spinning that rotation, both directions, 1 foot table over that hip, lofting things up. Just getting that nose down after that no-handed 360. All right now, second run of 2. Again, it is a best run counts format. 2 runs out of 60 seconds. Riders have a chance to make this happen. And there's 30 seconds left, Todd, for Paul.
Oh, yes, Tuck No-Hander with that huge extension that we noted on him in the first round. Sending those hands way off, popping his shoulders out of joint as he did that. 360 dipping out the toboggan. Yeah, love this guy's execution.
So just to highlight what you talked about earlier and riders trying to just transfer all the way up onto those big embankments, the higher up a rider, yes, 2 for 2 on those Supermans. the higher up a rider can land, the more momentum they can build down. So every single one of the jumps out there, a rider really wants to make sure that they're landing as close to that top part. On some ramps, it's coping, where it's that metal pipe where you can stall with your pegs and grind, but the smoother you can land, the more speed goes, just like you saw right there in that 360 double bar spin. He didn't have to take any pedals, and it gave enough momentum. So that's the thing, if a rider's in control, they pedal less because they have that speed. And again, those are the details the judges want to see, because it just shows the control, and you're able to pump, like pushing your body weight into the transition, and can actually generate speed for a rider.
Yeah, absolutely. I think any judge would say that if they could see a run that was as high as another but with no pedals, they'd definitely take the no pedals.
Yeah, a little fun fact right here. I'm going to give a shout out to a Spanish rider, the legend Ruben Alcantara, one of the first riders to bring that pedalist style into competition at X Games many years ago. He actually did a run where he didn't pedal, and the reason I bring this up is that he's a Spanish legend BMX rider, and it was just his birthday 2 days ago. So happy birthday to you, Ruben, and thank you for having that Spanish influence on all of our riders around the world.
Absolutely. Heading over to the Brits now. Rhys D'Abreu headed in for his second and final run in the finals right here.
Big lofty alley-oop with the bar spin, floating back. Whoa, hot hands 3 times around. So a rider can throw the bars any way they want. If they throw it and catch it, that is a bar spin. If they guide it with their hand, that's a bus driver. And we saw Rhys throw, catch, and then the final third throw right there. You got to be super focused and committed. 540 flare, 2 for 2. A very difficult trick as he gets that spin around and spots the landing, Todd.
Absolutely, a really technical trick on the BMX. Absolute commitment required. Round into that jump box one more time.
Yeah, getting that style, twisting and tweaking the bike out. A little bit of an unturned down alley-oop as he floats. So when we hear us talking about an alley-oop, that's when a rider will just twist off the transition and float backwards, as opposed to just carving the way that they're looking. So it's a little bit blind. It ups the ante. It just looks so good when you see Rhys just floating back, spotting the landing, and then pumping into that transition. Take a look at those hot hands. That's what I was talking about. The 360 triple bar spin. You see no brakes on his bike. This is freestyle. A rider can set it up any way they want. Rhys doesn't have pegs as well. Those are the extensions that come out of the center of the wheel, the axle. Some riders put them on. Some riders will wind up grinding or standing on them. Kind of a little bit of a variety of tricks out there. And that's the cool part about BMX. You can put your bike any way you want and choose this trick selection. A lot of riders are having somewhat similar styles out here. They're choosing these tricks to bring that we've seen so far on the course. When a rider can bring their own unique voice, sometimes it's rewarded extremely well from the judges.
Absolutely, and I think we're going to see that later on as we pass down through the competition. I'm guessing most of these riders choosing not to run pegs though, because they're doing all these whip tricks that you just want to reduce that amount of weight that you're muscling around every time.
Yeah, same thing goes for their wheels. If it's a lighter rotation weight, even a lighter tire or tube or wheel, it can just increase how quickly your bike spins, and you really feel it more so than, let's say, a heavier seat or a pair of handlebars. So that's where riders usually want to really try to save weight.
Absolutely, all the tech to discuss as well. But first up, it's Kane Mitchell dropping in.
Big K looking to bring the hammer over that box jump, backflip, bar spin, potentially looking for that tuck no-hander, putting the throttle down, yes! Getting that helicopter again, the backflip double tail whip. Thing to note, Todd, you saw that he actually aired up and above out of that big landing. First rider we saw on that transfer to do so. Look at the hot hands coming around with the double tail whip. Kane Mitchell, let's see if he keeps a similar approach to his first run or if he switches things up. 360 double tail whip. Todd, he's hitting that halfway mark.
He absolutely is, yeah. Can he keep it going? He's a big guy with lots of power. He's putting it down right now, back into the jump box again.
Going for that flip variation. Again, big height. There was that alley-oop we just talked about. And the no-handed front flip over our step-up box. Unbelievable that he was able to keep things rubber side down and roll out of it. 360 over the spine. Enough time for a final thought. And it looks like that's going to be time right there. Tiempo for Kane Mitchell.
Yeah, he's had a lot of fun out there, showing he's got some crazy stamina to keep it going as well. Alex,
yeah, that 60 seconds is so difficult for a rider to figure out when you're on the course. I know you mentioned earlier, it's like, hey, if you're at home, you're hanging out, maybe you're having a snack, sitting on the couch, doesn't seem like a long time, but when you're in the ring and you've got all that energy and you're doing big tricks with that adrenaline pump, like that front flip, or that no-hander where you grab the tire, that's some extra style points. There's a no-handed version of the front flip. I mean, it's unreal to think. Right there, he just puts the handlebars in the lap so he could support the bike, take the hands off, and you saw just how quick and tight the landing was for him to put his hands back on. So I'm sure right now Kane Mitchell is just excited that he rolled away, but he's going to wait to see what the score from the judges.
Yeah, I think 60 seconds in the ring is about what it is. You're just getting pummeled by this course, by the sun, and by your bike. 73.5. Kane manages to step up his score, but not enough to put him into the top 3 right now. His compatriot is next to drop, Mr. Miller Temple. Second and final run for him. 60 seconds goes up on the clock, and he gets ready to drop in. The young man from the UK had a great first run, but could clean it up some more. In he comes.
Ooh. Look at the speed, height, and the distance traveled on that alley-oop, kicking that frame around for those tail whips. Wild man with good style right now. Oh!
Wow.
Transfer, you saw that he hung up a little bit. That's when a rider doesn't get the distance, and it was very jarring to the point that he slipped his pedals and a hand. I'm just so happy right now that Miller did not go down with the ship. A lot of times when that happens, it's so unexpected, and that's usually when you get tied up in your bike and you just dump out right in front of the landing. But right now, let's look, starting things out really big, 2 for 2 on that 720, full commitment with the tail whip, that alley-oop bar spin at height, I'm going to add, kicking the frame around. And let's just take a look right here one more time. Beautiful execution, confidence, power, speed with wall ride, putting both tires on. And again, I'm so happy that he didn't go down, but I did wish that he got the full pull. So his first run of a 73.83 is definitely going to be the run that sticks. The 24.83 is going to be the throwaway. Currently sitting in that bronze spot, but we still have our riders. 2 more of this heat, and we have our 6 riders of heat number 2 yet to ride.
Absolutely, it definitely a shame not to see everything that Miller could do in that run, but so glad to see him roll away healthy. That looked like it could have gone a whole lot worse. In comes Reef Way now from Great Britain, his second and final run.
Another 18-year-old rider. So cool to see the youth right now pushing the sport forward. That's the great thing about Extreme Barcelona, the fact that we do have this platform for all riders. Think about that. It's the 15th edition. He's 18 years old, so he was 3 years old when we did our first competition. Grew up with their event going on, and now he's repping the UK, Great Britain on the course. Big tuck no-hander for Reef Way. He has 30 seconds to work. Toboggan transfer, it's where you grab the seat, turn the bars, and set up perfectly for that flared transfer, Todd.
Oh, yeah, cruising around the park. That is crazy to think about how young he was when this competition started. And now he's out here hitting it up in the final and putting down an insane run right here, Way. Calling it early, though.
Gonna wave off. You know, listen, a lot of times with BMX, so much of it, you have to be in the right mindset. These tricks are so crazy. The judges are, I mean, the riders are making it look easy, dare I say. But, you know, these are very difficult. Coming around 1, 2, 3 times on that triple tail whip. You got to be in the headspace. And sometimes a rider could wind up waving it off if they're not in that right spot, or if they feel like, hey, maybe my first run was a little bit more of what I wanted. It's not going to potentially get as high of a score, but I love that front flip right there. You just have such a cool side perspective. As you see, he spots the landing, head by the bars, and then has to push the bike out so he could use his arms and legs as shock absorbers.
Yeah, realistically, everything they're doing here is death-defying. So if you're not in exactly, if you don't feel exactly right to throw it, don't throw it, I think is a sensible way to do. He had a fantastic first run score, still sits second overall, so he'll hand over to Sebastian Cuellar.
So Esteban threw down the hammer, 79 current leader. Let's see if he steps it up. Even though he is in that first place, he knows he has the 6 qualifiers from our semifinal top riders who have yet to go. And even though he's in that top spot right now, he wants to move up those numbers because we have Olympic silver medalist, we have a world champion who is yet to ride, and we have Jude Jones, who is our #1 qualifier. Right now, France is in the house, our only rider from France on course. Big double backflip, smooth rotation, 2 times around, spots the landing. Look at the height, comes in this time with a double spin, keeping it for that 722 360s, and you see Esteban right there popping up on top. Maybe having a little bit of difficulty, maybe doing the same thing that we saw happen with Reef Way, getting that flare tail whip.
Still wanted to put on a bit of a show for the crowd, but yeah, I'm guessing just like Reef, knew that he didn't land that 720 quite right, lost his speed a bit, and it was going to be super hard to better that amazing first run.
Yeah, I want to give him some serious props. You know, a lot of times riders have a dream run. We talked about strategy before the event, and sometimes it's like, hey, let me put it all out there. And his first run was so good. He might have said, hey, you know what? I did everything I want to do out here. I'm happy I got that in. And like you said, on that 720, maybe wasn't as happy with the land and said, hey, I'm not going to top perfection for myself. So I'm just going to go out, I'm going to wave it on off. And, you know, our competition season for everything with the UCI and how many events there are, it's a grind for riders. So you want to save your energy and potentially not go down or anything. But the thing that did go up for Esteban is that 79. So we could see that he's holding up on top of that board right there. Way and Temple in potential silver and bronze medal behind. But we do have our top 6 qualifying riders. You can see their names up there. Jack McGuire, Justin Dowell, Daniel Dhers, Marin Rantes, Kieran Reilley, and Jude Jones, who is our #1 qualifier. The way we take it, we had an open qualifier, a semifinal, and now we rack them in reverse order, because in some ways, as far as strategy goes, if you go last, you have a chance to see how much do I have to put on the line to potentially beat out the riders. And that's why Jude Jones is going to be our last rider in heat #2.
Yeah, if you've really got your eyes about the course as well, you could see even what the judges are enjoying. Most of these guys are going to have their runs down already, know their full 60 seconds. But yeah, like you say, you could see, Jude gets that ability to say, Kieran threw that extra bar spin in, maybe I can stick one in as well to make sure that my tricks are a similar difficulty as his.
Well, Todd, I've been very impressed with you calling the action of every action sport that we have. 5 different disciplines over the course of the last couple of days. So maybe right there you were reading into a crystal ball, and we're going to see, hey, maybe it does come down to Kieran and Jude, and maybe that extra bar spin. We'll see. Time will tell, but you've had such a good grasp on everything happening here at our Urban World Series Extreme Barcelona 15th edition. So it's going to be interesting if we wind up having to say, hey, how did you predict that right there? But we'll keep an eye on that.
Thank you very much, man. Big praise coming from you. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure being across all these sports this weekend. I'm happy to step out of the park where I normally live and into the booth, especially when I've been joined by such fantastic co-hosts like you, Kelly and Brad. It's been an absolute pleasure. So we head into
You're going to make us blush over here. I mean, my cheeks are rosy and red right now. I appreciate that very much. But right now, the energy's turning up. You hear the crowd going nuts because heat #2, the first rider is going to be Great Britain's Jack McGuire.
Yep, Jack McGuire, another of this absolute armada of Brits in this final. He'll be first to drop in heat #2. He's got 2 60-second runs. Here's his first.
7 riders from Great Britain, 360, getting those tail whips with the late bar spin. You saw just before he was going to land, he threw the bar so smooth. Same thing goes with that tail whip going back in the opposite direction. McGuire looks so confident on the course. Let's watch the way that he's able to pick apart each one of these jumps as he floats with that 360 bar spin and then a late can-can. So that so far has been every single hit that McGuire has, is just throwing in the trick right before he lands. And that's because he's putting so many combos in one air, Todd.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's able to muscle through this as well. Seriously strong guy. In he comes to that box jumps once more. Gets upside down with the bar spin. Did he want the tuck no-hander? But rolled away really clean.
Sets up with a big pump. Look at that. Superman seat grab. Just some style points, putting the bike out to the side. 5 seconds to go. 360 tail whip. Time for a final thought. 540 flare.
What a final thought.
Wow, getting it done when the pressure's on. And that's what we talk about. This is a very big contest, our C1 UCI event. And it's either riders can step to the plate at that moment that matters, or they can crumble under the pressure. And we're seeing Jack McGuire, first rider, really step up. Look at that bar spin after that 360 double tail whip. And right there, kicking the frame around and kicking it back. That's known as the windshield wiper. And working things out with that bar spin right into our big wedge. And then he had this trick right here. It's the backflip bar spin. And like you said, it looked like he was going for a tuck. But I still got to give it to him. Backflip bar spin halfway more into your run. Not an easy thing to do.
And sticking that 540 flare. Love the mix of old school and new school tricks there. That Superman seat grab, always an absolute favorite of mine and the crowds. But McGuire goes straight into the lead. Shows that he's a top 6 qualifier, 82.6, putting some daylight between him and Esteban. So your fellow countryman now, Justin Dowell.
Yeah, Dowell, originally from Virginia Beach, East Coast BMX rider, super committed to the sport. He actually was world champion before. Let's see what's going on. Dowell dropping in. Yes, a lot of height, getting twisted, pretzeled on that alley-oop flare turn down. Dowell right now has so many tricks, especially with the bars. We're seeing the hot hands as he throws them forward, back, and forward again. Dowell 40 seconds as he transfers with the 360 and the tail whips. Working things out, going coast to coast on that wall ride, straight into the box jump. You see the bars on the backflip. And right now, Todd, he's got 28 seconds to work with.
Yeah, he is powering through this run. So much speed and amplitude. Love the big travel across the park with the wall ride. Turn down backflip into the flare, carrying so much speed. Oh, click on that.
Yeah, just getting it tweaked. No-handed 360. Dowell's got some big moves. Let's see that bar spin. He's got time for one more. 360 with the X up, tweaking things out. I like the way that all of his tricks, when you hear us saying it's click or tweak, that's a good sign because it means that he's just really getting full extension. He's gotten pretzeled and twisted up and tweaking the bike in order to get it at its max for each trick. So let's take a look right here. 360 with the bar spin into the tail whip. That right there was the Twix. That was huge. No other rider does that, where you wind up rotating the bars and the bike at the same time. It's a little hard to see the first go around from our perspective, but that's a huge trick. No rider we've seen throw down that Twix yet.
Yeah, love that 540 tuck as well. Super big extension, super big amplitude, all of the things the judges want to be seeing. Exciting.
And then we had another perspective on the bars in that backflip. I think he might have thrown it around 3 times. Again, a little hard to see from this perspective, but our judges do not miss a thing regardless of what you and I call it here in the announcing booth.
He's stoked on the run as well.
He should be. I have a feeling he's going to shake it up, and it does. First rider to blast all the way up into the 90s right there with a 92 even from Dowell, throwing down massively.
Huge run from the former world champ. As we hand over to the man who has won more Extreme Barcelonas than anyone else, I believe. He's a huge crowd favorite, still doing it at 38 years old. We welcome Daniel Dhers.
Venezuela loud and proud right now, cheering on Daniel Dhers as he drops in. Tokyo 2020 silver medalist. Look at the 720 with that can over the top tube. Big flare, a lot of speed coming in. Yes! barely keeping it together right there, but when you are as dialed as Dhers, right there, you can walk the line of pushing your riding to the utmost. He's coming in 40 seconds. Transfer with the 720. That was big because of the distance he transferred. A lot of riders have been just jumping straight, and the judges know if you're going to transfer 8 feet like that on that spin trick, you're going to be rewarded with the points. Tuck no-handed 720, spotting that landing, setting up with that opposite air over the hip to come in for the 360 tail whip. Todd, this is a good one so far for Dhers.
Yeah, really doing some crazy stuff over that volcano, which is a much tougher ramp than doing it over the box jump. That 720 traveling was wild.
Ooh, alley-oop right there, floating backwards, getting the double whips. Dhers right now, final thought, and it's going to be a big wave to the crowd. That was a huge run for Dhers. Look at this, getting the support not only from Barcelona, but you can see his home country holding the flag up right there because he is an icon in Venezuela. He does so much, not only with his riding, but he also has a foundation where he's really given to the people, teaching business mentorship and how to just really step your own personal game up, whether you want to be a BMX rider or follow your dreams and passions. So we're looking at Dhers, big off-axis, spotting that landing, and right here, that no-hander tucking the bars in 2 times around. 360 with the tail up. I love the way he just steps off to the side. We're seeing some signature Daniel Dhers. When he first started his career, he's one of the first riders to do the off-axis 720s. People were just mesmerized, didn't really know that you could get that spin. And he kind of set the standard. So every time we see another rider do that in competition, he was the one at the start of his career said, hey, you know what? I'm going to break down some new doors. Right there, breaking it down with the judges in 81.67. So that's going to put him in potential silver medal, followed above him by McGuire and Dowell holding that top spot.
An absolute crowd favorite is hit as well here. When he jumped up on top of the volcano to finish that up, the scream that came behind me put their hairs on the back of my neck on end. Next rider to drop then, representing Croatia, is Marin Rantes.
The Croatian rider's got the moves. In 2018, he was the UCI World Champion. 2022, the European champion. Let's see what's going on as Marin is cruising with that look back, trying to get the speed back up. Yo, so many times around with that tail whip. We're going to rely on that slow-mo right there to see how many. And that's just the state of what BMX is in. It's almost hard to count in real time as he throws that double tail whip over that transfer. Look at the height right there on that 720. Quick wall ride touching in with his 2 tires. Rantes is just looking so clean as he is landing each one of these so high and smooth to set up for that transfer, Todd.
Absolutely. So amplitude is how I would describe this. Just power and amplitude, getting so high as he clears every obstacle.
Tuck no-handed 360. Let's see if he can keep it up and dig deep into his bag of tricks and maybe throw out another hammer. That's what's going to be important and really separate the rider's front flip transfer with that lawn dart known. Big move right there to end it at the run.
Super sick run from the Croatian right there. Loads of speed, loads of amplitude, and a ton of huge combos. Love the extension.
Seen that tuck no-handed 720, as you said, extension was definitely the name of the game. I believe that was a 360 triple whip. Again, the judges will see everything that we're not able to pick up from our vantage point. So I just always want to highlight that at home because we have zero impact on the judges. There's the the backflip with the double tail whip known as the helicopter, and that's that lawn dart, that front flip right there where he transferred from the quarter pipe into the big wedge landing. Very good run for Rantes.
Second place for the Croatian, scores 85 points, slots into silver medal position. Not bad for a first 60-second run, but will need to step it up if he wants to step onto that top step with knock Dowell out. Next rider the drop then, owner of the world's first ever triple flare, the current reigning world champion from Glasgow 2023. It's Kieran Reilley.
Yes, Kieran getting that 7 variation on the box. Alley-oop triple bar spin right there. Hot hands as he comes around with 4 tricks in 1. The 360 double tail up to bar spin. So Kieran right now up in the ante on each one of the hits, putting in another trick, more so than each one of the riders we've seen, and that has to favor well with the judges, as Kieran is just throwing haymaker after haymaker. He's got 30 seconds, Todd. This is a big start for Kieran.
Absolutely, showing us how he became world champion this year, just pushing through as many tricks as possible, a non-stop action from the Brit.
Working things out on that 360 bar spin variation. Riding up and over to get the speed for the 360 tail up to bar spin. 10 seconds for Kieran. Come on, everyone, let's cheer him on. Big no-handed front flip. Alley-oop flare, and that was a full pull for the world champion, Kieran Reilley.
There was nothing missing a second trick in the combo there. Even the flare was done massively alley-oop. Everything had multiple tricks in each hit. Absolutely wild from the world champ.
Yeah, you saw 4 hits in 1, the 360 double tail whip with the bar spin. Look at that 720 over the extended spine. And then right here, popping that tail whip in the alley-oop. Flat spin 5. Here we go, over the box. No-hander, great execution. Really just putting the arms all the way up, and then was able to just put it together with that alley-oop flare, spot in the landing, and utilize the entire 60 seconds extremely clean and knew exactly where he wanted to be at the end of his run.
Yeah, that was buzzer-to-buzzer action right there, but can't quite topple Dowell with his first run. A 90.17 slots him in to second place and silver medal position at the moment. Now, his young countryman, Jude Jones, 22 years of age, was our #1 qualifier. He gets the privilege of being last to drop right here, and his first 60-second run begins right about now.
Jude Jones dropping in. Ooh.
Oh my gosh! The gunshot.
Wow. Thankfully, Jude Jones walking off the course on his own accord. Take a look right here. Wraps around the head tube in a decade, puts his feet back on, and then tries to get that spin. And oh my gosh, the gunshot, more like a cannon right there on that front wheel. You could just see the tire blow out.
How did he walk away from that? That was brutal. Perhaps the tire going really saving the impact on that one. So happy to see Jones walk away from that. That was absolutely brutal.
Well, that score is going to be a throwaway for Jude. Hopefully he'll be able to ride his second run. He's got his coach down there, Greg Illingworth, who's going to have to scramble right now, get that wheel repaired. Hopefully it's just a tube. You see right there, Greg Illingworth trying to change the tube out. Actually, it looks like he had a double blowout, front and back wheel. Unreal. We talked about how the bikes are extremely light on the rotation, and riders sometimes use these tires that are extremely thin. But look, boom, boom, both of them at the same time, double barrel shotgun. The cannons were just sounded as he came around, and thankfully, again, okay to get up and walk away from such a hard crash.
Good Lord, it just goes to show the forces being put into these guys. You've got to be rugged to put up with this sport. Jack Maguire back to the top of the list then for heat number 2. Having a ride after seeing that from his fellow countrymen, that is tough to get your head around. He needs to get his head right in the game, put down a great first run, really put a big score on the board, went to the top of the list before being knocked off by Justin Dowell. Jack Maguire, the Brit, drops in.
Oh, stepping things up right there, getting that quick bar spin in after the 360 with the tail whips. Look at, oh, getting a little bit loose. Let's see, can he keep it together? Come on, Barcelona, cheer him on. Switching directions right there. You can see he was a little bit shaken up by almost crashing. Kind of threw off his mojo. Let's see if he can recover. Going for that 900.
Another
shoulder.
Another incredible walk away. Wanted to do something for the crowd, going down on the 9. Getting the crowd hyped up, though, for the last 5 runs.
Obviously, that was not the run that McGuire wanted. I'm just happy he did not go down. But that can really just throw you off. You know, that's pretty much as close as you could get to going down without. So thankfully, he's all right. But that can shake your whole riding and your run up. So obviously, his first run of an 82.67 is going to be the one that sticks. It has him just outside of that medal contention.
Still a big score and a big place, an enormous competition, a 4th place, all those important ranking points as we head towards the Olympics as well.
So let's take another look right here. This is Jude Jones. Watch both tires, front and back, front and back. Boom, boom. So again, those tires, the riders want to save rotational weight. You can see they're extremely thin for all of our old school riders. You remember, there's no way you used to be able to take a tire off with your thumbs alone. You needed a tire iron, you needed a wrench, you needed every strength, you needed Popeye to pull them off. But the tires are so light. Yeah, so we're going to watch our current leader, Justin Dowell. We really got to focus on his run because he does do that Twix and variations of it along with multiple bar spins in one air. So I'm counting on you, Todd. Is right now dropping in for run 2 of 2. It's Justin Dowell.
Yep, gets that Twix again. Sends the hand off.
That hand up.
Yeah, in the 360. Beautiful.
All right, it looks like Dowell here is just going to switch gears a little bit. Even though he's doing a no-handed 540, I think he's just going to throw this run to the wind because he had such a solid first run. And again, if a rider maybe doesn't pull exactly what they're going for, if they're going to try to up the ante, even though he's just cruising out there, that was actually the first rider we've seen in competition utilize their pegs, and he's just having a good time. 360 rolling out with that bar spin.
Yeah,
let's take a look right here on this box jump. Watch his bike and his handlebars. 360 bar spin with the tail whip. That's the 360 Twix. Boom. And then there's just a 360 bar, one-hander throwing it up. And you got that no-handed 540, the circle and a half.
Really enjoy that 540. The extension is just great. I think perhaps wanted something more in the Twix and then knew once he didn't land it that he wasn't going to best that first run.
Yeah, quite possibly, but he is standing tall right there. 92, the score to beat. He still is going to have a lot of stress because he's got 4 riders remain, and one of them is Jude Jones, who we didn't see get a full pullout on the course yet.
Oh, no, absolutely. He's got some big riders left to come, and that hot seat is going to be roasting his backside right now as he waits for these final 4 riders to drop. First of those, crowd favorite here. He's welcomed as a local here in Barcelona, 38 years old and still absolutely ripping. Give it up for Daniel Dhers as he drops in for his second and final run right here. 60 seconds on the clock.
Dhers charging towards the box jump. Oh, getting those back end around on all those tail whips in the 360. Back to the box, 720. Nice style as he just tucks into the bike. Dhers right now charging back, downside 360 tail whip, floating it up, having a little difficulty on that landing, but he is still in it. Transfer, no-handed 720, again, big distance covered as he just went from one takeoff and spotted the other landing, no-handed 360. And I feel like Dhers right now maybe downshifted gears and is just cruising out there as he does a backflip Superman, knowing that most likely his first run is going to be a little bit more solid than the second.
Yeah, something he didn't quite like there, but I really love that 720 with the no-hander, traveling as far as he did. No other rider doing that, just using those pegs for one last little trick and saying hello to his public.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, this is one of the most celebrated riders in BMX. Silver medal at the Tokyo 2020 Games, 5 X Games gold medals. He's won the Pan American Games. He's UCI World Cup champion. He's been the FIS World Series champ. He's done it all. So right now we're witnessing one of the most celebrated BMX contest riders, Daniel Dhers. And I got to just give him so much credit because, like I said, he's been such an inspiration for Venezuela. He goes and travels down there. I mean, he has his own park in North Carolina, the Daniel Dhers Action Sports Complex, but he really is making a focus where he's originally from, setting up a foundation, supporting up-and-coming riders, the entrepreneurial aspect, and just bringing it all together. So the 81.67 is going to be his top showing of 2. He's going to be sitting in that 5th spot and not enough to medal.
So 3 riders left to drop. 3 incredible runs to come. Marin Rantes is the first of those 3. The Croat has some work to do, but he is capable. 60 seconds on the clock. The crowd go wild as he drops in for his final run.
Croatia's in the house. The height right there on that 720 when he takes his hand off was just, I'm going to say, maybe a little bit higher than any other rider. Same over that step up right there. And we talk about one of the criteria the judges look for is the height, and especially boosting on that spine. Look at that, going the distance, quarter to quarter, kicking the back end as well. Rantes, Todd, has got 35 seconds at that halfway mark.
Yeah, that channel gap is no joke at all. Really huge, made it look easy. Cruising with the 360 tuck. Now had a more transfers from the Croat.
Back to the box jump. Backflip with the tail whip. Rantes still in it. Kicking that frame around. Downside 360 tail whip. 8 seconds. No-handed 3. Oh, getting the front flip again, 2 for 2. Only rider we've seen do that front flip transfer, again, known as the lawn dart. Keith McElhaney actually invented that trick. So cool to see it here in comp. Not one you see all the time. And that variety is definitely a favor with our judges, Axel Jurgens, Javier Ortega, and Nuno Milanos. Here we go into the box jump. Again, look at the height right there. Full extension, the wingspan totally out on that 720. And then even over that box jump right there with the 360 triple tail whip. And here is a double version across that channel.
Yeah.
So as we see the score come in, let's think about it. Even though he was doing different versions like that 720, there was a lot of 3s, a lot of tail whips, especially in that backflip double, which is so hard and difficult to do. But we saw the judges really reward variety, and he did have some variety in there with that front flip transfer.
Absolutely. The transfers may have set him apart there. Didn't get that second trip, but does step it up and does step, or is on the podium, locks down that podium spot for now. Of course, we've still got Jude Jones left to run, put down a full run. Marin sitting in 3rd place as we go into our final 2 riders.
So it looks like Dowell and Kieran Reilley will potentially medal because Jude Jones has yet to ride. So Marin Rantes is the only one's fate who is going to be, hey, will I be on the podium or not? But this could be any rider's day because it's best run counts format. Kieran Reilley threw down a massive 90.17 on his first run. Now let's see if he can step things up. Here we go, Kieran Reilley. Full commitment right there on that 720 variation with the whip. Looking over his shoulder, charging back. Yes, putting 4 hits in 1, 360 double tail whip with the bar spin. Looks like Kieran's going to try to stick with a similar formula of run number 1, and he steps it up with the double flare. That's the strategy we talked about. Can a rider just put more toppings on the Sunday and try to bump up that number? He knows it's going to take a big thing because Justin Dowell's sitting in that top spot with the 92 currently.
Yes, absolutely insane run from Kieran here. Knew he needed to step it up, but no! Goes down! 20 seconds left on the clock. That's going to be decided. He's not going to be able to bring it back from that. But he put it out there. He put it all on the line. That risk versus
that
reward.
Might have been the Baba Booey right there, just slipping right off the bike. Had that big run, stepped it up. It was in his sights with the double flare. That's so disappointing that Kieran went down. Let's take a look at all the things that went right. kicking that around. The tail whip on the 720, full commitment. Here you go, 360 double tail with the bar spin, 4 tricks in 1, and there's the flare 2 times as he comes around and spots the landing. And this is on the anniversary, the 33rd year anniversary of Matt Hoffman pulling the first flare ever. So we got a little bit of a special day, and Kieran Reilley doing the double flare, looking for that landing, and then right here is just where it slips as he comes to the landing off the side of the bike. That's the Baba Booey, unfortunately blowing it.
Just cut little snake coming out, biting it. Down he goes. That's one of his, that'll be one of his everyday tricks as well, is using that to turn around. I know it's a crazy difficulty, but Reilley will be disappointed with that.
So much respect for Kieran Reilley. You are the man. Throwing down the double flare in a competition like that, that's heartbreaking.
And hey, it's the unpredictability of action sports that we love. And sometimes the world champion doesn't take the win. He's going to be second at best today. Jude Jones, his compatriot, first place qualifier, is going to look to push him down as he tries to step onto the podium. In he comes.
Jude Jones, decade around. Oh, having difficulty on that trick. Talk about risk reward, putting all your chips on the table, pushing them in the center of the felt, and unfortunately getting snake eyes 2 times for Jude Jones over the box jump.
So much props to him for going back to that trick that just went really wrong, giving it another go, not going with something else. Crowd going crazy for him. Is he going to give it one more try for the Barcelona rabid crowd? Yes!
There you go. That's how it's done. Jude Jones going to maximize this remaining clock time. He's got 16 seconds.
Show us why he's #1 qualifier right here. He has got some crazy maneuvers in his trick bag.
Downside tail whip, 360 bar spin to downside tail. Just even there on that one trick, you see how much control he has, able to just cleanly execute. Unfortunately, that didn't transfer to the first jumps that he did in both of his runs. That's also very disappointing for Jude Jones, considering he was that #1 qualifier. I'm just glad that he's okay after those really hard crashes. Let's take a look right now. Jude Jones' first hit, decade around, puts his feet on, and then tries to get that 360 afterwards. So his body does a 720. The first time around is without his bike, and then the second time has the bike.
Yeah, he's got some really individual tricks in his bag and shows why he was #1. Still a young guy, still up and coming through the British cycling system. Big future for Jude Jones, and he'd have taken a lot of confidence from the fact that he's managed to qualify first against such a stacked field. We'll hopefully take a look at that stacked field and those final results in just a second as our team set up the podium, ready to give out some big cash money and big UCI points to our winners, as well as those bronze, silver and gold medals for our Extreme Barcelona champions. Here comes our winner. And we're going to head down to the skate park. Our sports director, Tony Alvarez, is down on the skate park, ready to chat with Justin Dowell.
Okay, the last final of Extreme Barcelona 2023, it's over. We have the last champion of the weekend, Mr. Justin Dowell. It's the second time he wins here. You win in 2018, it's your second win here. How it feels to have like 2 gold medals?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even been back here since 2018. And this is one of the most amazing cities in the world. I brought my beautiful fiance with me. We just recently got engaged, made a whole vacation out of it, and just the riding speaks for itself. When you feel good, you ride good.
Okay, Justin, dude, congrats. Enjoy the win and enjoy the future wedding, okay? Okay, that's all for this Extreme Barcelona 2023. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We go back to you, Todd.
Thanks, Tony. Oh, we have had some beautifully wholesome winners this weekend. Lovely to hear him give the shout out to his fiancée. And like he says, when you feel good, you ride good. That's such a fantastic line to live by.
Yeah, and right there, Justin Dowell definitely feeling good. Getting that top honors. Again, 2018 and then now 2023. Let's take a look at what Dowell, 360 bar spin with the tail whip. That's the 360 Twix. He had a lot of unique moves, kicking that frame both ways in the 360 with the tail whips. Let's take a look. The no-handed 540, that's a circle and a half, coming back at us with the transfer. 360 double tail whip, backflip bar spin. I believe that was 3 times around, which is so crazy to do halfway through your run like that. Charging back, wall ride coast to coast. And then right here, he is just taking a moment to celebrate a great run, and that was your winning highlights. But let's look at his second run, 360 with that bar spin and the tail whip known as the 360 Twix. Again, tweaking things out with that look back flare dialed in. And then right there was when he said, you know what? I had that great first run. I'm just going to have a good time. I'll do the 360 one-hander, the no-handed 5. And then again, just big props from our crowd here in Barcelona cheering on Justin Dowell.
Oh, yeah, definitely a popular winner here. And 5 years between wins right there. That's the longevity of Justin is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and even the fact he was 18 years old, right? He's 23 right now. So when he came here, he was 18 years old. First and only time at Barcelona Extreme, you know, and then getting that top honors next time. Like you said, you're feeling good. That's half the battle. And he looked great out there on the course.
He absolutely did. Looked like he was having a great time. And I really loved his really unique trick bag. Set himself apart from everyone on the course, and the judges loved it. So, third place, bronze medal, a stack of cash, and loads of points headed towards the all-important Olympics is Marin Rantes from Croatia. Bronze medal right there. Bag of goodies. Not used to coming second this year, but a silver medal is still something to be massively proud of. The world champion himself from Great Britain, Kieran Reilley. And we head back to our winner. We just heard from him. He brought his fiancée here. He's going to be celebrating with her later on this evening. Give it up for our winner, Mr. Justin Dowell. Beating that armada of Brits and taking the W. The 23-year-old American. Second time at the top of the Extreme Barcelona podium. There's our bronze, silver and gold medalists. Give it up one more time for Marin Rantes, Kieran Reilley and your champion, Justin Dowell, with a massive score of 92.0. Big grin, big medal. Big party here for the final of Extreme Barcelona 2023, the 15th anniversary of this incredible contest. Riders from all over the world. These guys all friends as well, messing with each other on the podium. It's great to see the camaraderie between the riders. Very few other sports you see rivals being as friendly with each other. So there is your top 12. Justin takes it from Kieran and Marin. Jack Maguire scores a 4th. Daniel Dhers, the veteran, in 5th. Istvan Caillet, 6th for French. Reef Way, Miller Temple, Kane Mitchell, Reese Debrio, Paul Diaz, and Jude Jones unable to get one of those runs down, unfortunately. So, Daryl, what a weekend. We've seen some crazy action, right?
Yeah, so much respect to all of, not only our BMX riders, but all of our athletes out here, all of our fans, not only in Barcelona, but everyone home around the world, right? This was an edition very special for us. We want you here at the next Extreme Barcelona. So make sure you follow us, Urban World Series. Look at the calendar, find out, start planning now. We want you, not only in the crowd, maybe you're a rider thinking about it, the contest or competition and get out of here. We want you here with us. But big ups to all of our riders. Justin Dowell coming out on top. A lot of variety. The only rider who did not only the Twix, but the 360 version of it, the backflip triple bar spin, and throwing down big. So big ups to you, Dowell, and all of our riders in our BMX final.
Absolutely wild weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you go back and look at all of the live stream through the weekend. Catch up on all the on all of the action. Thank you, Daryl. I've been Todd Grady. Till next time, see ya.
Hey, sí, ok. Bueno, vamos a ver. Anem a entregar les medalles del Campionat d'Espanya aquí a Barcelona. Tercera posició, medalla de bronze. Tommy Verde, sisplau, Tommy.
En Imagine tenemos una pregunta. ¿De qué color ves nuestro logo? ¿Verde o azul? Si lo ves verde es porque juntos ya hemos plantado más de 300.000 árboles. Si lo ves azul es porque hemos retirado más de 21 toneladas de plástico del mar. Y es que somos muy azules, y muy verdes, y muy azules, y también verdes, y azules, claro. Imagine, somos lo que hacemos.
Estoy muy orgulloso de ti, hijo. No sé qué podría hacer por ti. Yo sí sé qué puedes hacer por mí, papá.
Un regalito de inicio de curso a tu padre no le cuesta mucho. Porque ahora por ser de mi Movistar puedes tener hasta 5 dispositivos. Juega como quieras, juega mejor.
Ay, papá, ¿cómo eres?
Las pequeñas alegrías no son pequeñas, son la alegría. Date una alegría. Ven, Andalucía.